Thank you so much, Leonard C, for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. Let's begin. There was a directive from the president. What was it like?
Well, in furtherance of our effort to make sure that we fortify every community in Ekiti State as a sort of incident of the killings of the traditional rulers and kidnap of the pupils and teachers of a school in Ekiti. The president gave directive to the Inspector of Police to do adequate deployment and, of course, make sure the perpetrators of these heinous acts are apprehended at cost to face the fraud of the law. And the governor of Ekiti State, accompanied by the Senate's majority leader, came to the office of the IGP today, and there was a short security meeting to see how we can do adequate deployment. Earlier today, the IGP has given directive that the Assistant Inspector of Police be posted to Zone 17. Zone 17 commands Ondo and Ekiti State. So we have a new AIG in charge of that place, Bernard Shabi, who has been mandated to proceed to Akure, that headquarters, and move immediately to Ekiti, to relocate temporarily to Ekiti State, to coordinate all these coordinated activities, operational activities of the police, and to be supported by other security agencies.
So there's a resident commissioner of police there?
Yes, there's a commissioner of police in charge of Ekiti State Command. But the AIG controls Ekiti and
the most senior officer, definitely.
The most senior officer, so that he is, that's the style, because ordinarily the AIGs are to supervise their commissioners of police in their jurisdiction.
Administratively.
Like that's what the IGP did in Plateau State too. The AIG in charge of Zone 4 was moved to Plateau just to go and coordinate the activities in charge of that place. So it's always a tradition that when we have issues in our commands, the supervisory AIGs are always deployed temporarily to relocate to all those states to take charge of coordinated operation we have. So the IGP has ordered deployment. In fact, today, the chopper, he has given directive to AIG Air Wing to deploy one of our choppers to Ekiti State specifically for this assignment. Our target is to make sure we arrest the culprits who actually attacked those traditional rulers and killed 2 of them. The IGP has sent his condolences to the good people of Ekiti State and the government of Ekiti State and the families of the affected traditional rulers, while we are assuring the people of Ekiti State that the kidnapped pupils of those schools and their teachers will be rescued unhurt and be reconciled or united with their families. So our deployment is going to comprise PMF men from neighboring states, the squadrons in neighboring states from Ondo, that's Mopo 17, and some of them from Moshun, Mopo 39. All of them will be deployed. The directive is clear already. They are going to move immediately to Ekiti State. And IG has given directives to this in charge of, that is IRT, Intelligent Response Team, DC Mohammed Sanusi, to move his men to that place tomorrow. Some of his men will join our area support too, to give them area support in Ekiti State.
So Mr. Adejobi, those who will think that isn't this belated, because when these kidnappings and this attack happened in Ekiti State, it's been days, and those perpetrators must have moved. Their footings and the trails would have been swept away for you to be able to...
Don't forget that there was a time we made a statement that the police is having a paradigm shift in our policing system in Nigeria. We're embracing electronic policing, and we do forensic investigation. The common say in forensic investigation is every offense committed leaves a trace, even if they go. There was a case in the north that we did, particularly in Plateau, the killing of one of the largest one big men in Plateau State. We adopted our forensic analysis and investigation to trace the killers, and they have been apprehended. I paraded them just recently, I think a week ago, here in Abuja. So if they even go, every offense committed in forensic investigation leaves a trace. We surely get them.
So,
we surely get them.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is your preliminary investigation telling you about the Ekiti case?
Well, generally, we know that handmen attacked them. We wouldn't want to jump to any conclusion or preempt what the investigation will say, whether they are social people or not social people. But now we have 13 suspects arrested so far in connection with that incident, and we are working with them. They are actually giving us reliable and useful information, which we are working on. I'm sure the IGP has directed the CP to have a comprehensive report in that regard. As I speak with you, they went to the bush again today. I'm sure by now, if they are back, they must have even picked some of these criminally minded elements who are causing problem in that area. The CP has been mandated to do thorough press briefing about this and to give us a report adequately. I don't want to preempt what the report from the command will say, but as I speak with you, we have 13 suspects arrested so far, and we are sure we're going to get more of these elements so that you can bring them to book. We will continue to go into all these bush. You know, there's a forest, I think, in that locality, and the command CP has led some of our local hunters and people in the community to actually comb some of these bushes in the area. So we are sure and we're optimistic that we're going to get all of them apprehended, and they are going to be brought to book.
One of those things that the Honorable Member Akin Rotimi, the spokesperson of the House, said on the floor is how these guys pass through checkpoints and pass through different installations of security agencies and unchecked, and they perpetrated this evil, and that some of the installations are in fact dead and inactive. What has caused that kind of situation? Well,
Tim, there are so many things when we're discussing issues like this. There are so many parameters and indexes we need to look into. The first thing is, you see that recently the IGP made a statement on how we want to review the use of tinted glasses on our vehicles. This is one of the major problems we have, that Tom, Dick, and Harry in Nigeria, we always want to have their vehicles tinted. As yesterday, the IGC had a meeting with some experts and our trained officers on how we can review the issuance of tinted permit and the likes. We discovered that some of these crimes committed, particularly violent crimes, connected to, they are called vehicle-related crimes. You can't have kidnapping, you can't have some of these incidences without the use of vehicles. You can't be mobile, either bike, motorcycle, or tricycle, or vehicles. And most of the vehicles they use now are tinted. They have tinted glasses. And that's why we want to clamp down on the wrongful use of tinted glasses. And we have noticed that some of these vehicles applied roads are not registered. It's criminal if you use a vehicle on any of our highways and the vehicle is not registered. It's criminal because you have that tendency of committing an offense unchecked. Because
I thought the police give tinted vehicle permits.
No, it's not automatic. It's not automatic. The law is clear that if you have a vehicle, even while importing the vehicle, all tinted glasses must be removed. You don't expect a dealer to be selling out vehicles, whether factory fitted or man-made fitted vehicles.
Any tinted vehicle
should be removed. However, every law comes with exceptions. The exceptions there are what? Two. You can use tinted glass for security reasons, VIPs. Then the law has empowered the IGP to determine who is that VIP to enjoy this privilege of using tinted glass for security reasons.
So
the second one is medical.
Yes.
It's the second thing is on medical ground. If you have bad sight, you have to get to a government hospital. They're going to give you a recommendation that you have bad sight, and the police should consider you to use your tinted glasses on your vehicles. So, but now we have noticed that dealers even violate this law. They come in. So the IGP has set up a committee. The report should be with the IGP any moment from now, so that we can clamp down on the misuse of some of these facilities in Nigeria, using vehicles without registration number, using vehicles with numbers covered. How can you go and register your vehicle, yet you still go ahead to cover your number plate? It is criminal, and Nigerians should know that all these things come together to affect our security architecture.
Are you going to start arresting people with cover plates and tinted vehicles?
We'll surely do. We'll surely do. You know that we have ECM now. We have department, that's Motor Traffic Division of the police. They have to work with Federal Road Safety Corps to see how we can actually clamp down on some of these unregistered vehicles that apply our roads in Nigeria. Then, if you cover your number plate, it's a criminal offense. And then, indiscriminate use of sirens. You blast sirens anyhow as if everybody's severe. No. We need to checkmate all this, because if you don't do it on time, it's going to affect our security arrangements and networking in Nigeria. And that's why the police is taking it more serious, to make sure we clamp down on all these things.
Yeah. I see the kind of deployment that the IG has ordered to Ekiti. There was a driver that was killed recently, a few days ago. There is a bus filled with students that was were abducted. Now, when we wonder, what has the police discovered that has caused this rise in kidnappings in Nigeria?
Well, let me start by saying paying ransom is criminal in Nigeria according to the provisions of our law.
But what do you do?
But the problem we have in most cases here is that families of victims in most cases, they don't carry security operatives along. They get scared because kidnappers always work on their psyche. Don't tell security agents. Don't tell the police. If you do, we are going to kill your relation. So, and they keep quiet.
They've been killing people. Abductors have been killing people.
No. Again, to every offense, we need to understand the psychology. What is psychology? Now we need to understand the dimensions into kidnapping. Dimension typology of kidnapping. Before, kidnappers would take kidnapping as a business. They will kidnap, negotiate, get money. It got to a stage. They kidnap, get money. They still go ahead to kill the victim. It got to a stage. They kidnap, get money, kill, still negotiate for the release of the corpse. So we actually need to see them and understand the typology and dimensions in some of these crimes, to know the psychology behind all this. And it got to state that kidnapping is no longer like a business. Hatred, patriotism. How will I kidnap that I want to get money? Then, at any slight provocation from the family of the victims or from the security agents, then the next thing is to shoot victims and kill them. So we're actually trying to study the typology and the psychology of all these crimes, and the dimension is to kidnapping in Nigeria these days. And it's going to help us because we need to actually do analysis of all these things so that I can get it, try to know where we're actually tackling these problems from. And also, we are having it right now because families of victims are now having belief in the police. See the case of Buhari Shion. It got to a stage that the father actually went to the wrong place. And he got to a stage. We called him. I spoke to one of them. And I said, can you actually allow me to share your number with so person? He said, yes, sure. He has believed in me. And we started from there. And that's why we are able to have a way forward on that case in Buhari and many other cases like that.
What is the root cause of this rise? What has the police discovered that all of a sudden, between December and January, there is a spike in kidnapping?
In most cases, is the topography of some of these areas. See Buhari, for instance. See the topography.
But there are kidnappings in Lagos. Is topography also
what is the waterways?
A factor?
What is the waterways? Don't forget, the kidnapping in Lagos was actually triggered due to the waterways. Do you know that the water from Lagos, the waterway from Lagos leads to Delta, leads to Port Harcourt, leads to Bayelsa? It's the same waterway.
What about Ekiti? Is that the same thing in Ekiti too?
No, Ekiti is forest. And the thing you need to know is that when you study all this, you can't, there are certain things the police cannot do alone.
But these things have been existent before December and January. The trend has gone up recently. Isn't there a sociological reason for it?
It is not that it's going up like that. Forget what we read in social media. Reality, it is not so. This one in Ekiti is just an isolated case that just happened recently. It's not that something that is happening on a daily basis. No. We have cases that are isolated, but when you read them on social media, you think it is not what you have on record. So we don't have the incident of kidnapping on the rise from Ekiti or anywhere in the southwestern part or in the northeastern or southwestern part of Nigeria. These are isolated cases.
But Mr. PPRO,
yes,
the cases of abduction has been reported. Our security consulting company says that about 68 cases reported in December, 25 reported in November, 71 alone in January. These are the trend.
Sure. I've just told you that's a thing we need to consider when we discuss the issue of kidnapping. And it's not that the security agencies, particularly the police, it's not that we don't rescue. I can tell you that with the record I have, we have many rescues in Abuja, rescues in Plateau, rescues in Kaduna on a daily basis. And I want to put it to you that so far, that the number of total kidnapping suspects arrested, that we even arrested 139. Those are rescued at 154 in the last 1 month. It is not that we don't rescue, but don't forget, let me tell you.
I'm saying why has there been a rise? I
have told you that paying for ransom is negative to us. It's not what we should do.
So maybe people think that it's now...
You got to a stage that somebody did crowdfunding on social media. This will not help us in any way. If you do analysis of
that criminal?
It's criminal.
To crowd.
It is criminal. It is criminal. It's not allowed. If the federal government condemned the act, crowdfunding is not allowed. How can you come on social media and be telling people to gather money to go and rescue victims? It kills our morale, it kills the system, and it's not allowed. I say it now is condemned. You should not encourage that. The more we encourage payment of ransom, it makes that business, that dirty business, look lucrative.
The SRS
should not be encouraged.
The special team that the IG has put together, when will they get to work?
That is SIS. SIS is working, Chion.
Yeah,
you recall that on 23rd of June, when about the third day into the office of the Inspector General of Police, the IG made it clear in his inaugural speech to the media. He made it press briefing. Paragraph 5 of the speech, you can go to it. The IG declared the establishment of SIS. And immediately started working on it, commanding, selecting commanders, selecting choices, and field commanders. We had to have a meeting. There was a committee set up, and committee gave report. After the report, the IG started working on that. He traveled to the US to go and meet the International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Bureau of the US, who is the key partner now to support the IGP in making sure we have funding, support, logistics, including training. I speak with you, the commanders are undergoing training now. After the commanders, all the men are going to be trained. 80% of SIS is from the PMF, that's the punching arm of the force. And the idea is to make sure that we have 1,000 armed policemen trained to be in various states to assist the states commissioners of police.
So they will have area capabilities. They can move easily.
They can move easily. They are going like each time. Don't forget too. On 29 December last year, when IG was in Plateau, IG made pronouncement of establishment and flag off of SIS in Plateau. And I can assure you now, go to Plateau now, you're going to see them working with all the operations we have there, and they have arrested many people. They did a press briefing on that, I think last week. And the same thing in Abuja. Immediately we gave SIS to them in Abuja. Everything started coming down in Abuja, and people in Abuja can actually give kudos to us. Now, today again, we have rescued more than 3 people in Abuja here, and it's on a daily basis. The CP made, he had a press briefing, I think, yesterday. The PRO2 did. I've been doing that to update Nigerians on achievement. So SIS is a very strong core that we're going to have on ground, and it's going to be spread across the states. We have in Plateau now, we have in Abuja, and very soon we want to get to some of the north central states, so that when we flush them out of Abuja, we don't want them to precipitate, let me use the word precipitate, in all of the neighboring states in the federal capital.
Just for a moment, let me bring in Mr. Kayode Adeluola, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, because the National Assembly is thinking of amendment to the Constitution, and PDP governors are asking for state police. It's good to speak to you tonight, senior advocate. Give us an understanding of what this will mean for policing, for the citizenry, and for our laws. And I mean, for one, we wonder, why has it been so difficult to put state policing in our law? It's been a recommendation in the confab.
Thank you. First of all, the Constitution today, as we speak, in Section 214, it is, provides that we shall have, that Nigeria will have a police force, and it's known as Nigeria Police Force. And that would be to the exclusion of any other force in any part of the Federation. So what we have regarding our police force as of today is a unitary command from top to bottom, from Abuja to the nook and cranny of our country, Nigeria. And also in Section 215, it says that the Inspector General of Police shall have the command of the police force. In other words, one person determines what goes on in the police force, of course, with his colleagues and the Police Service Commission. But more importantly still, the President has authority to give orders to the Inspector General of Police or any minister he so designates. Now, what that means is that the various state governments cannot police their own respective states. The local governments cannot police their communities. And what does that mean? It means if there's a crime in any local government in Lagos, Zamfara, Cross River, or Anambra State, you must wait for the police under the command of the Inspector General of Police to do anything. Now look at what has happened in Ekiti State. The President gave the marching orders to the Inspector General, who has in turn spoken to those on ground in the various formations around Ekiti State to keep moving. And like you rightly said, before they mobilize, the trail of these guys might be obliterated, although we have the public relations officer there with you saying that no matter what, they will have the forensics to be able to trace them. As for me, I have sufficient faith in the Nigeria Police Force that we have today. However, we have issues about attitude, we have issues about their comportment, we have issues about their relations with the members of the public who they are supposed to protect. Now, if we're going to have state police, are we going to carry this over to the respective states? Would we have a situation where some governors will simply see the state police as their personal bodyguards and gestapo? Would we see the state police men simply being bodyguards to some of our high-profile people? The public relations officer said something which caught my attention earlier. He says, oh, for the tinted windscreen, an exception could be a VIP. Who is a VIP? We're all Nigerians. We all are Nigerians. You find in some homes as many as 6 or 12 police men sitting there in the Hilux, and down the road, a crime is committed, and there's no policeman to chase the criminals. So if we're going to have state police, we must have a paradigm shift completely.
Yeah, but let us say, if I may jump in quickly, why has it been difficult for us to achieve? Because if these are being proposed severally, and those who are talking about community policing, the fear that you raised about some elements in the state using the state police apparatus for their own individual and selfish gains is one issue that has been raised. But the question is, what would you say to the National Assembly members? Because it experienced a setback in the 9th National Assembly. What would you say to them this time around to ensure that we get a law that can help police this country adequately? if they are good to go about it this time around?
So what I'll say to them is, let us have state police. Let the rules guiding them be very clear. Very, very clear. And I tell you, if you have state police, it will be one step towards structuring. It will be one step towards stamping the federal character of our nation, federalism that we are supposed to be practicing. What I mean by that is, if we have state police, let those in, say, for example, Anambra State, say, for Anambra State of a population that we have, we only need maybe 100,000 state police or 200,000, and want to be sure that anyone who's applying to be a member of the state police force is at least an HND holder. And we can then have the other ranks who are also properly equipped and trained. That way, we shall have a healthy competition amongst states. If you have a state police in Lagos, for example, the likelihood is that they're going to be very well looked after. But then again, we don't want state policemen who will be yes people to the governors. We don't want state policemen who will be yes people to the politicians. And I believe that's the reason a lot of people have been kicking against it. The rules must be clear. We must have a robust debate regarding the state police. It's not about the senators and House of Representative members sitting behind closed doors, fashioning a law for us and saying, here you go, you've been asking for state police, here you are. No, we should have clear-cut rules. And we must have people who must be devoted to the work. State police will not be only about men in uniform. It will also be have informants in the nook and cranny. If you have them, they will report to the police daily. In my neighborhood yesterday, this was what we observed. This is the straight person who has come in. These are the things we need to have. And by the same token, I know not a lot of people will share this. If we need to, we could find some forensic police departments of different parts of the world coming to train our people in crime prevention, crime detection, and what have you.
But I mean, I spoke with one of the leaders of Afenifere, Pa Olu Falaye, who was telling the president, who was one of them in the trenches, the pro-democracy agitators, and he said, look, you were part of us who are advocating for this. It needs to make restructuring happen. But you hear a lawmaker, a senator, who is proposing that every Nigerian should be given right to be able to have a gun, to be able to defend themselves. Where does this kind of proposition stand in Nigerians being able to defend themselves if you look at the template of the United States?
Now you see what happens in the United States, for example. Guns are available. If you can go to the supermarket, you can buy yourself a gun of your choice. Some people actually collect them. In a place like Nigeria, we need to determine the rules. Who is entitled to carry a gun? Should it be somebody who just walks in from the streets? So, you see, we must have a way of having background checks to determine who's entitled to carry a gun. Because you know what? If you do not know that I carry a gun in my house and you're a criminal, you will think twice. Even if you knock at my window in moving traffic, you will think twice. But the rules, again, as I said, must be abundantly clear. Indeed and in truth, I do not think we are at that point yet. Now look at what we're talking about. We have kidnappers. Some of them, I'm sure, when you see them apprehended, they look like decent people. But here we are, molesting people all over the place. And we must ensure that we get to the root of this thing.
All right.
But for the question you asked, those who must carry guns must be people who have had sufficient background checks done concerning them.
Senior Advocate, thank you so much indeed for your time, for the insight, a bit clearer to some of us now. But let's close this conversation. A lot of Nigerians will ask, in other clients you have 911 and you will call. Is there a short code, or is this the same set 11-digit number that we have to call and cram?
Well, sure. We have that short code 112, but there's no 911 again. I don't know why.
112. Does it work?
It works. But now we're trying to have a fusion center in the office of the NSA, and they are working assiduously on that. We had a meeting, I think on Monday or Tuesday, in the NSA office. They are going to have some of these short codes back, so Nigerians can easily memorize them and use them in case there is any problem anywhere. So we assure them we're going to have it very soon. And collectively, the NSA is trying to coordinate activities of all security agencies, including the military in Nigeria. We're going to be having a fusion center, that's joint press briefing center at the NSA office, where all of us, the military, police, and other paramilitary agencies, we always brief Nigerians on a regular basis. With what we are having now, I'm very sure we are going to get it right. We want to assure Nigerians that it's going to be better very soon. They should just believe in us. believe in the system, and let's be more patriotic. That's going to help us a lot.
Well, what I feel, or what I hear about Kayode Egbetokun is that the guy is really ready to work, and I hope that Nigerians get the benefit of the hard work and his initiative.
Well,
thank you so much.
He's an expert in peace and security studies, so I think he has brought that one to bear for us in the police. And I can say it without missing words that very soon Nigeria will see that we have that police force that is people friendly, rule of law compliant, professionally competent, and of course service driven. That's the vision statement of the Federal Police, and we believe that will bring Nigeria Police Force to attain its primacy, internal security of this country, and we shall get it right.
Muyiwa Adejobi, thank you so much. He's a spokesperson of the Nigerian Police Force, and of course we've been speaking with senior advocate